Welcome to the Local Marketing Source Weekly Update, brought to you by localmarketingsource.com. This update is taken from the Local Marketing Source Professional Development Program for local marketers.
This week's Local Marketing Update is brought to you by Scott Gallagher. Scott is the co-founder of Local Marketing Source and has become the recognized expert in providing online marketing services to local businesses. Follow Scott on Twitter at ScottGallagher5 and on Facebook.com/ScottPGallagher.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Scott Gallagher here, bringing you our Local Marketing Industry Weekly Update. Well, our next LMS faculty call is going to be next Wednesday at 4 p.m., and that's October 31st, Halloween. Well, maybe I'll dress up for it or not. I'm not too sure. But the LMS membership, it provides access to our instant live Skype, as well as live questions during the faculty call, and access to our private members forum. And the LMS is for LMS students. We also include a weekly tip for the local internet marketing agency, which we're going to share prior to live questions. But for this week's update, we're going to be covering some elements on Facebook's stock, and it's popped 21%. Where and why, and what are some of the implications to this, and how this actually does affect local. As well as talking to you a little bit about the Apple Mini and what are the implications of this, and why perhaps Apple has engaged and gotten into this market space. Video ads on LinkedIn and the implications for that for local businesses. LinkedIn is a very hot social network for local business marketing. As well as Yelp, and we're going to talk about Yelp's sting operation. They got a lot of different PR for it, and they've made some strides. So we're going to talk about that. As well as Yelp has made an acquisition with a company called Qype, and what that means. And finally, the local internet marketing industry is really getting into a lot of mainstream media now. The Huffington Post has just discussed quite a bit about the implications and the growth of the local marketing industry. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and then get into some tips, and then open the floor to some questions. So having said that, I'd like to welcome everyone, and we're going to get into a weekly tip for local businesses this week. Last week, I talked about claiming profiles and where to go and get these profiles claimed and how to claim them. And this week, we're going to discuss the best practices of profiles. And in a nutshell, this is something that I could talk about for a long time. I mean, I could speak for an entire hour just on this one topic alone. But the best practices of filling out profiles, and these would be profiles on Yelp, for example, or Google. And they've, typically will have little bars that go along and say, you're 100% complete, or you're 50% complete, or what you have to do. But some of the things to remember and understand is there's a reason why they've done what they've done. There's a reason why they've got particular fields. There's a reason why they've got certain hours. And we tend, even if we don't feel like that applies to our business, we tend to get penalized if we don't take advantage of that. For example, utilizing all 5 categories in Google, if at all possible. Utilizing all the description fields, and not overstuffing the description with keywords, but making a compelling description that has also got a call to action. So what types of call to action would be relevant for your business in that sense? Getting pictures up there, not just getting pictures, but pictures that are relevant for your business, pictures that may have been shared on social networks and maybe even liked by social individuals that are out there. Videos, walk-in video, testimonial video. In other words, you want full disclosure on your profiles, and you want them to be filled out as much as possible. Go and do a little bit of keyword research and get that theme within all of your profiles as well, and create your descriptions and create your NAP. Your NAP is an acronym for name, address, and phone number, and make sure that you've got your NAP, the same consistency, the same formatting across all profiles, same description when possible. So that will help out. All right, now moving on to weekly overview, and I'd mentioned that there's been a drop in, or not a drop, a pop in Facebook's stock. They've gone up 21%. You know, I've been saying for a few months now, since Facebook stock has been plummeting, it's amazing these people that are selling off and why they're selling off, and you know, it comes down to ad sales, and all they got to do is, just in this case here, they had a really good Q3 earnings that they posted. Well, look at the significant jump. So at this point in time, the market space is just up and down when it comes to trusting this network or trusting whether they're going to be able to make money. But the fact of the matter is they have 1 billion users on there. They've got their open social graph for that, and they haven't leveraged that. They don't have the AdSense type of infrastructure that's out there yet. They do have the exposure to be able to launch it, so it's really interesting. You know, the much anticipated Apple iPad mini, and why would I be talking about something like this? And you know, there's one thing, it reminds me back in 2009 when local started to become something interesting in the internet marketing space, and mobile marketing was also something that was something, you know, became something rather big, but they were treated like two separate entities, and that was a challenge, because when I looked at that, mobile marketing was just a means to be able to distribute content. It was a different means than, say, your laptop. Well, then tablets came out. We had a different means. We have desktop, we have laptop, we have tablets, you've got mobile devices. And what's coming next is television. And all of these are going to be integrated completely together and on the same networks and accessing information. And so all we do as marketers is we're just pushing information. And we're pushing information through different devices, whether it be a tablet or a PC. And then Amazon came out with their Kindle Fire. I was an owner of one, and it's a good device. It was really inexpensive, and it's the first time and the only product that has kept up or given Apple a run for its money, and it's either iPhone or iPad sales. No other device has done that. Of course, Android has, but Android is not a device. It's a software or operating system. So Apple's just launched this iPad mini, and what this means for marketers is it's a different consumer for a different purpose that's going to be utilizing a device in a different way. Those 3 inches between a mini and an iPad, or 7 and 10 inches or whatever they are, is a big deal. If you've ever tried to use the two devices, they're used for very different things. Okay, you can use them for games and whatnot, and you know, but you've got different rendering setups and different angles and different ways to look at that device when looking at different websites and whatnot. So I've always argued that each of these channels, whether we call it mobile marketing channels, they've got different arms under their different umbrellas, it's still marketing 101. It's still understanding who our audience is and creating content that's relevant for that audience. And so if you're marketing for a chiropractic firm, something that might be relevant to that audience is to see success stories. Okay, we know that chiropractors face a challenge of education because they're quacks, right? They don't know what, they compete against the medical world, the pharmaceutical world, a drug-free world. They're in a wellness world. They're put up there with acupuncturists. And so we could utilize video to change that messaging, to put up case studies, to put up testimonials and whatnot, and make reference to overcoming that objective. Without understanding our audience, we'd not be able to create content that's relevant for that. You can take 2 dentist practices that are positioned and go after a completely different audience, and your messaging is going to be 100% different. Well, that's marketing 101. And so your messaging, again, is understanding your audience and how they consume information. And this iPad mini, essentially, the fact that Apple has launched it in the fashion that they have, clearly gives confirmation that that size itself is a segment of itself. And if it is a segment of itself, then you're not cannibalizing the other product as much as, say, a 13-inch versus a 15-inch versus a 17-inch laptop. They all cannibalize each other in sales. It's not like you're going to go and buy a 13-inch and have a 15-inch laptop, or a 13-inch and a 17-inch. You may go and get a MacBook Air at 11 inches and have a 15-inch larger laptop. But the point being is the difference between 7 and 10. It's interesting. So that iPad mini is a segment. That defines that we have a segment to be able to watch. Video ads are now arriving on LinkedIn. This is should be no surprise. We should be seeing this a lot more in social networks in this day and age. They're going to be able to work well. We're going to be able to use text-based and image-based ads to sell the call to action. Well, that's going to be to sell the click. You click to play the ad. The ad is going to have a call to action after that, which may be to sell the click to buy a product or make a phone call or something of that sort. So that was just recently launched, and want to keep an eye on that. We're going to see some other search engines get into that, as well as social networks. So Yelp, they've got a sting operation. They went out and they found 8 businesses that were showcasing and hiring people for bogus reviews. They revealed 2 of those businesses last week, and they revealed the remaining 6 businesses. They're getting a ton of PR for it. What a brilliant PR campaign. Run something to go and expose somebody and then tell everyone else about it. Really good PR campaign. Well, it's a good thing that they're doing things like this, because they just bought a company called Qype, and that's spelled Qype. They're actually the largest review site over in Europe. They do somewhere around 15 million daily active users, and Yelp is somewhere around 80 million. But they just made that acquisition, and it's you know, almost every industry experiences of some sort of monopoly, right? Well, that's the conclusion of this week's update, and I am now going to share and continue with the local internet marketing tip. And last week, we were talking about making contact with a lead.